Hey everyone, and welcome to what is the last update on the E-Flite 1.2m P-51D Mustang. So as you can see, it's changed quite a bit since I first received the model back in September timeframe. It is now the end of March, beginning of April, and it's been a slow progress. You guys have seen some of the update videos. You've been able to kind of follow along. And for those who guessed correctly, yes, this is Lieutenant Urban Drew's Detroit Miss P-51 from the 361st Fighter Group, the Yellow Jackets. Urban Drew grew up in the Detroit area, went to school at Wayne State University as well as the University of Michigan prior to joining the Army Air Corps, probably I think just shortly after Pearl Harbor, which was pretty common for a lot of 18, 19, 20-year-olds at that time period. He went on to fly P-51s in World War II, and he's the only pilot that was credited with shooting down two Me-262 jet fighters in a single mission. But you'd have to wait about 40 years to get recognition because his gun camera failed and his wingman was shot down, so there was nobody to corroborate his story. So he had to wait 40 years before getting the recognition that he deserved for shooting down those two Me-262s. He also has the accreditation of shooting down the largest airplane ever built at that time, which was a German flying boat / bomber that Hitler was going to use to bomb the east coast of the United States. Him and his wingman destroyed it while it was in dock, so it was not in the air at the time, but he has credit to shooting that down as well. So after the war, Lieutenant Drew came back to Michigan. Actually, even before that, after the European conflict ended, he went over and flew P-51s during B-29 escort missions in the Pacific Theater, as well as did strafing and bombing runs there as well. So he fought in both theaters of World War II. After that, he returned back to Michigan, where he eventually would help establish the Michigan Air National Guard, which was eventually based out of Selfridge Air National Guard Base over on the east side of the state. And for those of you who are familiar with that group out of there, they had yellow and black checkers on their aircraft. So like when they flew the F-16s, they had a yellow and black checkerboard that they had to distinguish them. And you can see that the yellow from that is most likely probably a continuation of the 361st Fighter Group's yellow that they used on the nose. So back to the airplane itself. I'll tell you right now, for those who are the rivet counters at home, this is not 100% historically accurate. Lieutenant Drew did not fly this particular P-51 on D-Day. He flew this one later in the war. So obviously he wouldn't have shot down two Me-262s with invasion stripes on the airplane. Historically, that is incorrect. But I love the way a P-51 looks with the full invasion stripes. And E-Flite's model came with the stripes over the wings already. And I really love how that helps with orientation when it's in the air. Plus, I think P-51s wear invasion stripes so well. In fact, I think almost any World War II plane wears invasion stripes really well. So I went ahead and added the rest of the invasion stripes over the fuselage here. So I stripped down the paint in this area, removed all the decals, painted full invasion stripes on it. I kept the invasion stripes that were already on the wings that come with the E-Flite model. And then I added the red canopy rail, the red on the tip of the tail and the wingtips, and of course painted the yellow section here. And then all the graphics came from Cali Graphics. She came up with the nomenclatures, like the stencil decals that are all over the aircraft, as well as the Detroit Miss decals and everything else. Those came right from Cali. So the plane went together remarkably well, considering that a normal pilot should be able to get this out of the box and get it in the air in probably 20 to 30 minutes. It's taken me months to put it together, but I've really, really enjoyed the project along the way. So it's not a difficult plane to assemble, but as you can see, I did quite a bit of little things to it. A lot of what I did after the paint work was the detailing around like the weathering of the exhaust stacks. You have the weathering coming off from the exhaust. A little bit of weathering around the gun ports where they had been fired. Now remember, to do it at least as correct as you can, the invasion stripes really only on the airplanes for about 2 weeks. A lot of people really heavily weather these things down, and that's really not correct, because you know, I think of how dirty would these things get really in 2 weeks? Well, probably not too much. And I kind of wanted it to pattern after just probably as close as I could to D-Day, so the stripes are still very clean. When I put the stencil decals on the wings, anywhere that had the white invasion stripe, I actually took white thinned out paint and painted over the top of them so that it looks like the stencil decal is actually underneath the white paint. They're trying to make it look a little bit more realistic. So anyway, other upgrades that I did to the aircraft, besides of course all the painting and detailing, I went through and added Metal Gear E-Flite servos. I know a lot of people telling me that was a waste of time and money, but it was my plane and I feel more comfortable with them and my investment anyway, so I decided to go ahead and do that. These use non-reverse servos, so if you're looking at upgrading your servos on your P-51, be aware that these are the normal rotation, not the reverse. So I just want to make sure I point that out to you guys as well. And one other thing that I did I thought was really cool, I wanted to give this P-51 some more capability. It comes with drop tanks right from the factory that slide in and off on rails, but I wanted to maybe make my P-51 capable of some close air support. So to do that, E-Flite's P-47 Thunderbolt comes with rocket tubes and 500-pound bombs. But the bombs don't slide onto the wings. They're designed to clip into a hard point that's on the wing of the P-47. So I bought the bombs and decided to design up my own pylons here, and then had them 3D printed, and they slide right onto the undermount wing, or the underwing mounts there that hold the drop tanks. So quite easily I can take the drop tanks off and slide on a 500-pound bomb. I have 2 of them, so I can kind of give the aircraft a little bit different role if I want to do close air support. And then I also, while it's not also historically correct, the rocket tubes from the P-47 actually slide right onto the P-51. They did use rocket tubes in the Pacific Theater and also in, I believe, the Korean War as well, but I can't find any evidence that the P-51s ever flew in the European theater, especially out of England, with the rocket tubes. But they still look pretty cool, and you don't have to do anything to them, they just slide directly on the mount. So a cool little thing I did there, so I can actually change what I want to do with the airplane. So if I want to fly close air support, bombing missions, rocket missions, I can do that. If I want to fly long-range escort missions, which is primarily what the P-51 was used for, I can put on the drop tanks. So anyway, I'll just kind of rotate the aircraft around here and highlight some of the other things I did to it that are unique to this particular airplane. Of course, we pointed out the invasion stripes already, and some of you who have keen eyes will realize that there are these small black bands, these little black pinstripes that go on the outside of the white invasion stripes. And for my research, I actually found that the 361st did that for some reason. And they didn't seem to do it to all airplanes. Some airplanes had it, some airplanes didn't. Some had it on the wings, some had it on wings and fuselage. There's no consistency to it at all. But what I do like about it is it really helps make the white more visible on the airplane, which one of the reasons why invasion stripes work so well is to make the airplane easier to identify, and for me it makes it easier to see in the air too with those bright white stripes on there. So I went ahead and added those on there, and of course it's got the stencil decals from Cali on there, and then of course the kind of rotated around here, you can see the nose. Okay, looking at the front, we have the factory propeller. And we added the stencil decals, of course, from Cali as well, and rotated around to this side here. One thing that I found during my research is that there's actually an oil drain that's located down in this corner of the fuselage here by the cowl, and that actually would stream a little bit of oil, and it would follow the airstream over the wing. So I went ahead and added that little detail to it as well. Okay, rotate it one more time so you can see the back here. And this is the last kind of cool detail I did to the airplane. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but on the tip of the tail there, I had an extra light from the E-Flite Cherokee, and I decided that I would stick that onto the tail and kind of dress it up a little bit. This does not have navigation lights on it, but I took the little clear lens and stuck it on the back there. So. Otherwise, that kind of wraps up everything that I've done to the E-Flite P-51 Mustang. And of course, this is the 1.2 2-meter version. It would complement the 1.5 meter very well, since they were from the same fighter group, the Yellow Jackets. So if you're looking at doing research on the P-51 Mustang, and especially of this fighter group, I recommend 2 books. And these are also great for anyone who's looking at how to weather and how to detail their P-51, either a flying model like this one, or even a scale model. You want to use some pictures that were from the period to get it correct. So I recommend the P-51 Mustang in Action here. It's by David Doyle. It's available from Squadron Signal. You can pick these up on eBay. Maybe even some hobby shops still have these around. From my days of static model building, I have a pretty good stack of these. This one's outstanding. It shows a lot of great pictures of the P-51, including some from D-Day as well. So you want to use references like this when weathering your P-51 to make sure that it looks correct. Okay. The other book I recommend, which is a little bit tougher to find, it's been, I think it's pretty far out of print, is Yellow Jackets. This is the 361st Fighter Group in World War II. You can see you got the yellow nose on here, just like we do here on Detroit Miss. And this actually includes the complete history and pictures that go along with the 361st, and actually feature this aircraft in it. So some fantastic books. Great to read anyway, but if you're looking at detailing a P-51, I highly recommend getting some of these books and really digging into looking at how the airplanes are weathered and how they were used in the air war. So if you got any questions, by all means, please leave me a comment below on the video. I'll be more than happy to get to them and share some of my kind of techniques that I've used along the way to help bring this plane to life. This is my first kind of big P-51. I have the UMX P-51, and I have a small one from Tower Hobbies. And I'm really blown away with the level of detail that E-Flite put in this one, and how awesome this thing looked when it was done. It's always scary to take a brand new airplane and start throwing paint at it, ripping the decals off, but I think the work was definitely worth it. So I'm more than happy to share those experiences with anybody who's interested. My Flickr site, BRGT350, the Flickr page, has an album that's dedicated to all the pictures that were done while the airplane was being built too. So feel free to check that out as well. If you're looking for one of these models yourself, you can get it from horizonhobby.com, or probably your local hobby shop has it as well. Mine came directly from Horizon Hobby, and I'm really happy with the airplane. Now comes the next part, which is setting the center of gravity and working up the courage to go fly it. But otherwise, this thing is going to look absolutely stunning in the air. So, got any questions? Leave them below. And thanks again for watching, and subscribe to see even more of my P-51 Mustang.